Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. Recently, I've been working on several armies, and I haven't been able to figure out exactly how I want to base them. My Grey Knights have a dark earth texture paste and bits of chaos demons strewn about. My Orks are on a desert sand texture paste, and they have tufts to match. My Dark Angels are on a mud texture paste with tufts that match. And my Disciples of Tzeentch are on extremely colorful water marbled bases. My Skaven are on cobblestone. And overall, some of them I really like the style of. They fit the army well. And others are a little bit on the lacking side, just being a texture paste and tuft. So going forward, I wanted to see what type of options I had for several of my other armies. My Necrons still need a basing style. My Tyranids still need one. My Death Guard for Heresy needs one. And so I figured the best way to go about it from here would be to create a template to see what I liked the best. So I decided to make a template. First, I put down 8 splotches of desert sand texture paste, followed by 8 brown mud and 8 dark earth. Once that dried, I did a light dry brush of pale sand over the desert, beige brown over the mud, and light gray over the dark earth. For the first of the shades, I used Seraphim Sepia, and I covered the whole splotch in the second slot. I followed that up with the third one using Reichland Flesh Shade. And the fourth of the top rows was Agrax Earthshade. I continued on the second row of each using Nuln Oil, Coelia Green Shade, Druchii Violet, and Berserker Bloodshade. I followed this up with a dry brush of the same colors on the bottom half of each of the panels. And I think I might have had my brush just a little bit too wet for a dry brush because it added a little bit of tinting instead of just a dry brush. I now have a nice, easy guide to 24 different texture paste and shade combos with examples of without a dry brush before, a dry brush after, and a dry brush before and after. And with this, I can now color match what I think looks best for each of my armies. So now I can take one of my models and see which color combo looks best, and to highlight what I've painted. And I can see that I think I really want to go with dark earth texture paste with a Coelia Green Shade for my Necrons. And when it comes to my Heresy Death Guard army, for that horrid environment look I'm looking for, I think I'm going to go with the desert sand with Druchii Violet. It adds some toxicity to the ground without being another shade of green. Plus, purple and green are really good contrasting colors. And then, for my Tyranids, with the many colors and the idea I want yet another wasteland of no biomass remaining. I really like the look of the desert sand with Agrax Earthshade, and with a slightly different lighting setup. I know I'm still looking at the texture paste and shades, but I can also add a few little hills or stones to this as well. I still don't really get into the whole multi-step basing process like I did for my Rebels. I do like how they came out for Star Wars Legion, but some of my armies just don't feel that way for me yet. Like, I really do enjoy having my Disciples of Tzeentch on wild water marbled bases, and I do like my Skaven on the cobblestone, but not all of my armies have really called to me yet. So at least now I can reference this panel and figure out which one of the 24 combinations look best. Again, would you pick anything different? Let me know in the comments. I'm thinking that these 3 armies will get these 3 bases, but, I haven't actually started working on them yet, so plenty of time to change my mind. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see more of my armies being fully painted and based in the future. Subscribe if you haven't, so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.